Greetings, Mavericks and new viewers. Tonight, direct and live from the Maverick News Network World Studios. This is Maverick News with Rick Walker.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Maverick News Channel. It is Saturday, January 31st, 2026. We're almost out of January. I don't like January. It's always the coldest month, but it's all going to improve from here. Maybe a couple of ice storms left in the season where I live, and then it's smooth sailing right on into March. And I hope it comes in like a lamb and goes out like a lamb. And the lions, I don't want to hear them roar at all. But those Epstein files, they're roaring. They're causing disturbances, embarrassment. They just won't go away. But it isn't really confined to Donald Trump. It seems like everyone is looking to these files to try to score political points or affect political damage in one way or another against political opponents. Bill Clinton named in these things. Many people around Trump being implicated, if not in the files directly, then certainly in spin-off news stories this weekend as a result of this 3 million page document dump. And it's only about half of everything that is out there that is supposed to, by law, be released to us, the public, well, certainly to the American people, and us as an extension, the rest of the world. And Melania Trump named in these documents. Also making headlines this weekend because of the big film debut, Melania, the documentary, which is being, well, from what I've seen, it appears almost universally panned and described by some even as the worst movie possibly ever made. While at the same time, I'm seeing damage control on the Melania, the pro-Melania side, trying to paint a different picture, a picture of the picture, the film, to suggest that it's been something of at least a mild success, even though I'm seeing reports that there are completely empty theaters out there where the screenings are taking place. And then there's also the Trump loyalists who failed to show up for the big premiere of Melania, the documentary. If it's really a documentary at all, some say it's more an exercise in propaganda and marketing. Anyway, stick around. We're going to dig into all of it tonight. It's going to be one heck of a show.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, so I guess we'll start with the big document dump. So Melania Trump is referenced in this latest batch of Epstein-related documents released by the U.S. Department of Justice, which include over 3 million pages. That in itself blows my mind. 3 million pages, and apparently this is only about half of everything that is supposed to be released. So these references primarily appear in a 2002 email exchange between Melania and Ghislaine Maxwell. It shows a friendly acquaintance. No, it shows an outright friendship. It goes beyond an acquaintance. However, there are no direct mentions in the documents going back to some references that I've seen online of people talking about Melania being how she was being introduced to Trump or something. That's in other reporting, not in this current document dump. What has been produced in this document dump here, I'll bring it up and show you. This is the main thing that is sending shockwaves through the media tonight. If you haven't seen it already, we have it right here. There we go. Just need to bring it up on screen, full screen. There we go. So this is an email from 2002. No, this is very, very friendly. It says, "Dear G." So this is Melania sending an email clearly to Ghislaine Maxwell because she referred to Ghislaine Maxwell as G. "Dear G, how are you? Nice story about J.E., Jeffrey Epstein, in New York Mag. NY Mag, New Yorker. You look great on the picture. I know you are very busy flying all over the world. How was Palm Beach? I cannot wait to go down. Give me a call when you are back in NY. Have a great time. Love, Melania." So, another inconvenient email for Melania Trump, Donald Trump, by extension. Very inconvenient indeed. So in this email exchange, October 23rd, 2002, as you saw, referring to Ghislaine Maxwell as Dear G. Now, Maxwell's reply calls Melania Sweet Pea, thanks her for the message, discusses travel plans. So this correspondence occurred after Trump and Melania had begun dating, long time after. They met actually in 1998 at a New York Fashion Week party. I think the Kit Kat Club is kind of where they first became acquainted, and then they became married in 2005. And I don't know if did you see the big shindig at the Kennedy Center, I think it was, where the premiere was taking place for her new movie? Didn't look like Trump even wanted to be there. Looked very uncomfortable when asked about his relationship with Melania by reporters overnight at this event. And what would happen if you two hadn't met, I think was the question. And she says, well, we would be in very different places. And then he says, well, we're glad with the way things turned out. But there doesn't seem to be much affection between the two of them. He doesn't really hold her hand or anything. So I don't know. It's I've seen a lot of other information coming out that honestly related to this that seems to go back in time. And I think a lot of what's being reported out there tonight too goes back to this information, which was previously released. And I'll show you this document right here. This is from the Daily Beast. At the time, it wasn't exclusive information. They said explosive tapes recorded by author Michael Wolff show Epstein claiming Trump liked to F his friends' wives and first slept with Melania on the Lolita Express. Jeffrey Epstein described himself as Donald Trump's closest friend and claimed intimate knowledge of his proclivity for sex, including cuckolding his best friends, according to recordings obtained exclusively by the Daily Beast. So this, again, how much credibility this really has, it remains in question, but this is resurfacing now because of this latest document dump. So if you're hearing information out there, seeing it online, referencing these kinds of claims, it's really, I think, coming from here. Epstein spoke at length about Trump with author Michael Wolff in August 2017, 2 years before being found dead in his jail cell. Wolff was researching his bombshell bestseller, Fire and Fury, at the time. The recordings cast more light on Trump's long relationship with Epstein and will add to debate over the character of the Republican candidate. See, this is an old article, but it's all kind of being recycled because of these documents that have been released now. And it seems like everybody on all sides of the political aisle are trying to do what they can with this to score political points. There's information out there about Bill Clinton being named in these documents. We'll show you that as well. Donald Trump, Melania, Steve Bannon, quite a number of people around Donald Trump, all being sort of people trying to pull them into this web of controversy. Let's go over here to the Trump Report from Times Radio. Where Professor David K. Johnson is with Maddie Hale, and they kind of rehashed some of this stuff, and they do a pretty good job of highlighting where we're at with the document dump and what's most prominently being shared tonight.
We need to start off with just an overview of what's happened, Professor. So 3 million files from the FBI they seized from Epstein's devices, his property, victims' testimony, witness material, evidence shared by partner agencies. This was all passed over to the DOJ. It has taken years to kind of make, I guess, this public and go through it. This is, of course, because there's been ongoing investigations, victim protection, redactions, national security and privacy concerns. But what happened late last year is that lawmakers passed this Epstein Files Transparency Act. Trump had no choice but to sign it through, and that's why we have it now. I want to get your thoughts, David. You and I are just going to stick on Trump's involvement, him being named. We can down the track get into other big names being in these files, but let's stick with the president for now. So just your initial reaction to reading some of these files.
Well, first of all, the 3 million pages, 800,000 separate documents, is only half of the material they're supposed to release. And they've said, that's it. We're not giving you any more because it's not relevant to the law. So there's going to be big controversy about that in the courts. But the documents that have been released include what are called 302 reports. That's the basic FBI report on a field investigation, including one in which a 13-year-old girl at the time says that Donald Trump sexually assaulted her. In fact, she was hit in the face over what was perceived to be improper conduct by her servicing Donald Trump. Now, the White House says it's just nonsense, didn't happen. But it is the first time now that we've gotten an FBI report that FBI agents were told by a witness about this happening. There are a number of emails back and forth between Trump and other people and references to him. There are some emails involving his wife, Melania. And there's a lot of redactions, more redactions than I think are appropriate. And undoubtedly, there will be some court action about whether they excessively blacked out material so you couldn't read it.
And you mentioned these 6 million files, and I think 3.5 million have now been made public. And just for our audience, Trump hasn't ever been accused of any wrongdoing or criminality by law enforcement, but this is the first public, I guess, acknowledgement of victims or second-hand people coming forward. Am I correct, Professor?
Well, Trump has never been charged by law enforcement, but there are a number of young women, very, very underage girls, 13. In the U.S., the age of consent is 18, so not even close. It's not like a dolled-up 17-year-old, who have accused him of rape and sexual assault. And in the U.S., statutory rape is a serious charge. If you're convicted of it, you're going to serve prison time. But law enforcement has never criminally charged Trump. But civil allegations of what would be, if law enforcement pursued them, serious felonies are in the record now. And we can read them clearly. And this takes us beyond the civil lawsuits where various young women under oath have asserted that they were sexually assaulted by Donald Trump when they were as young as 13.
And we'll get into the specifics because you and I are going to read out some of the testimony, some of what's alleged in these files. But before we get into that, you said 6 million files are in the hands of the DOJ.
6 million documents.
Documents.
6 million documents.
Are you under the understanding that this will spark more suspicion now than ever?
This is how I'd learn.
I'd say yes. Absolutely. So very new stuff coming out.
They have said, we've given you a little over half and we're not giving you any more, is absolutely going to prompt more litigation. The two members of Congress who were behind the Epstein disclosure law, one's a Democrat, the other's a Republican, have gone to court saying, a lot of this stuff should not be redacted, blacked out, and a lot more should be released. And the Trump administration has filed papers saying, you have no right to go to court, and there is no enforcement mechanism in the Trump Epstein files disclosure law. So tough luck. Now, that's a very interesting question. If Congress passes a law and Trump signs a law saying you're to release all of these things, and he doesn't, the Trump administration's position is, we choose not to do so. So we're not bound by the law that Donald Trump signed.
Now, Professor.
Wow. So, named multiple times. These are, I would say, the most damning and, I don't know if that's the right word, but most serious allegations to come out of any of this so far against Trump. So, darn right, it's going to spark more controversy. I'm surprised the MAGA base is holding as strong as it is, supporting Trump on this stuff. It's, as I say, it's hard to know what's true. And I think that's because you're seeing the political machines cranked up now with the pro-Trumpers trying to inject chaos, confusion into the social media ecosystem to insulate Trump from the impact of this. While at the same time, on the other side of the political aisle, you are seeing them trying to implicate their political rivals. Now you go over here to Politico, and I'm highlighting all of these different media outlets to just show you that the reporting here is selective. The information they're presenting is selective. They're not giving you generally both. They're not giving information that sort of hurts all of the politicians and these personalities and the rich and the famous. They're picking the information largely to suit their own political purposes and bias. New documents here in Politico reveal the breadth of Jeffrey Epstein's orbit. So This is a broader net being cast, this broader information net over at Politico, says the Justice Department's Friday release of its investigative materials related to Jeffrey Epstein is packed with details about his ties to the most powerful figures in politics, tech, and global affairs. And so you're getting a broader look at a larger group of people with this particular report. And the documents, it says, shed new light on the depth of his relationships between the convicted sex offender and figures such as Steve Bannon, longtime Trump loyalist and advisor, Elon Musk, and world leaders. In particular, it goes on and says the files contain extensive exchanges with Bannon as he mounted a political influence campaign across Europe, and numerous overtures, the unrequited kind, to Musk. And the documents add new heft to earlier indications that Epstein wielded extraordinary influence for years, even as investigations into his trafficking of young girls had ramped up. Goes on and says documents previously released by the Justice Department show that Epstein, who died in 2019, advised and cultivated ties with prominent leaders in Europe, including Russian government officials. He dined with Hollywood elite CEOs and government officials, often inviting them to his homes and infamous island. And he used a network of relationships with prominent Washington figures to influence the Trump White House as well. Wow. It's getting worse, not better. This is terrible. I think it's bad for the country too, honestly, for the United States and really for all Western society, because so many prominent people just tied to this thing, this sex island. That's what it is. Unbelievable. And they mentioned Russians being implicated in this too, or involved. And I bring that up because if you go over to RT tonight, you will find, and I have it queued up here, if I can find it. They've weighed in on this too. They're providing coverage, but they're looking not at Trump. They're zeroed in on Bill Clinton. Let me see. Maybe I've lost the tab. I'll find it here. It won't take me long. Okay. I had it here. Here it is here. They were talking about this back at the beginning of the month too. They had a report out January 1st saying that former U.S. President Bill Clinton will be named in court documents concerning Jeffrey Epstein. And that was actually reported first by ABC. And now tonight, let me see if I can find it. I think the headline should still be up there. I saw it earlier today. I'm sorry that I've lost the tab. A little bit clunky here on the broadcast, but it's okay. We have so much to share with you tonight. And this is pretty nasty stuff. Where are we here? Where'd you go there, Bill? Might have to come back to it. Let me take a break. I'll find it so that I'm not trying to entertain you while I look for something. Here we go. Hang on. We'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay, we're back. So here's this. They've got stuff in there about Clinton too, but this headline, new, Ghislaine Maxwell claims dozens of Epstein's accomplices got off scot-free. 25 men reached secret settlements with accusers, while 4 others were never charged. 29 alleged accomplices and co-conspirators of Jeffrey Epstein have avoided prosecution, most of them through secret settlements. The disgraced financier and sex offender's partner, Ghislaine Maxwell, has claimed in court documents. Several media outlets this week reported on Maxwell's filing dated December 2025 that the U.S. Department of Justice announced the release of a new batch of so-called Epstein files. Epstein was found dead. In the court paper cited by the media, Maxwell petitioned the court to overturn her conviction, citing what she described as new evidence of the collusion between the plaintiff's lawyers and the government to conceal evidence and the prosecutorial misconduct. Epstein, why do I get the feeling she's going to walk away? Could happen. Yeah, I know. Why would that happen? Maybe because she's got dirt on somebody. You mean somebody might have to let her go to make a deal? Yeah, they might cut a deal. I'm just saying, could happen. According to the filing, another 4 of Epstein's co-conspirators never faced charges. It is not clear from Maxwell's motion whether she contends that the individuals in question had sealed similar deals with federal authorities. Deals? Did I hear the word deals? Yeah, I think so. Deals being made. Asked by a reporter about Maxwell's allegations, Deputy Attorney General Blanche said on Friday that to the extent that such arrangements exist, I'm not aware of them. Oh, there's a headline. Trump refuses to reveal his Iran plan. The Iran plan, even to his closest allies. Does he have a plan? Yeah, he wants to bomb them. Tehran says diplomacy progressing despite heated tensions with Washington. That's another story for another time. We'll no doubt be coming back to that since we have a massive armada heading to Iran. See, they got good at it in Venezuela, so they're sending one to Iran now. Not to be left out, Iran is now the subject of Donald Trump's affection. What do the two countries have in common? Oil. That might be one thing. And it's not about whether I like the politics. It's not about that. It's just that you can kind of see the pattern, right? And didn't Donald Trump say that they had obliterated the Iran nuclear program? Because that's the reason that we're told they're sending this huge U.S. armada to the Middle East, because of Iran still pursuing a nuclear bomb. I thought that was all dealt with through Operation Midnight Hammer. Was somebody lying? At the time, I didn't think that it was as effective as they let on. Yeah. So Trump was saying, go ahead, release all those documents. Let's get them out there. Now they've released them. Now you've got a little bit of a problem on your hands. A little bit more of a problem. And all this happening to Melania, implicated in this, dragged into the middle of it on her big weekend, the premiere of her documentary, Melania, and really overall not doing that great. So it's my understanding that the movie has grossed about $2 million. And so they're trying to put as much of a positive spin on that as they possibly can. But the documentary has been savagely panned by critics. Many reviewers calling it one of the most disappointing, shallow, and outright terrible films in recent memory, although some people even coming out and saying it's the worst movie ever made. Not universally, but I've heard that. The critical consensus is really overwhelmingly negative, describing it as an exercise in pure propaganda, a vanity project, and tediously airbrushed. We showed you last night the Rotten Tomatoes website. It was not kind. BuzzFeed calling it the worst movie I've ever seen. That from Natasha Jokic, I think is the critic's name, saying she'd rather relive traumatic events than watch another minute. The Guardian described it as pure, endless hell and a gilded trash remake of The Zone of Interest. The Daily Beast labeling it an unbelievable abomination of filmmaking and an insipid propaganda that almost resists review. And Variety calling it a shameless infomercial that is so orchestrated and airbrushed, it barely qualifies as a documentary. The Atlantic dubbed it simply a disgrace. Oh, other outlets, including The Independent, The Wrap, Hollywood Reporter, they've all compared it to Nazi propaganda films, calling it tedious torture. Oh my. That's terrible. Absolutely terrible. And to add insult to injury, to just rub salt into the wounds, and this is what really is some of the most prominent Trump loyalists who were invited to the premiere of the film skipped out. Oh, yes. And so as a result, and I keep showing you some of these media outlets and what they're doing with all this information tonight, over at the Midas Touch Network, they've highlighted this, and they have open mic recordings and open mic recording where names are named. And it's not pretty. Not for Melania, not for Trump, not for the documentary.
To a group called Led by Donkeys over in the UK, because this horrific Melania movie had an international theatrical debut. By the way, it was banned in some countries like South Africa because Donald Trump is a heinous individual, although in response to our exclusive reporting that South Africa was blocking the Melania Trump movie, Stephen Miller's wife, Katie Miller, responded to us, of course, since they are biased against white people. But this group in the UK called Led by Donkeys, they went to each of the various cities and areas in UK and found the theater essentially completely empty. Also, it should be noted that at the red carpet or black carpet event, whatever you're going to call it, for Melania here in Washington, D.C., there was a humiliating hot mic moment at the premiere where Melania's family doesn't show up. Donald Trump's cabinet doesn't show up. Nope, everybody stood Melania up. So many people ditched Melania premiere, including Barron. Barron didn't want to be there. A hot mic at the premiere of Melania Trump's documentary captured the long list of people who never showed up. Nearly a dozen people close to the Trump administration skipped out on the world premiere of Melania. Multiple family members were no-shows at the First Lady's big night at the Kennedy Center, including Barron Trump, Eric Trump, Lara Trump, Tiffany Trump, and Ivanka Trump. Several Trump officials, including J.D. Vance and others, did not show. Kristi Noem, no-show. Pam Bondi, no-show. Brett Baer, Carrie Lake, Maria Bartiromo, Riley Gaines, Sean Duffy, Peter Navarro, all no-shows. And you'll see the camera on the red carpet or whatever saying, oh, this is weird. Nobody's showing up here. How humiliating is this? Play this clip.
We didn't show on the red carpet. Carrie Lake, she didn't show. Maria. Brett Baer. Kellyanne Conway, Riley Gaines, Eddie Johnson.
Thanks a lot.
Eddie Johnson? Oh.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah. Kash Patel didn't show. Rasfat didn't show. Noam didn't show. Bondi didn't show. Weird. Duffy didn't show. Navarro. That guy.
But the right-wing oligarchy did show up to a private premiere at the White House and then proceeded to get trashed by their companies, rightfully so. Apple workers livid at Tim Cook for showing up to the Melania movie, utterly disgraceful there. You had, of course, other right-wing oligarchs there. I want to note this as well. Melania, you're not ditching the allegations of potential relationships with Epstein and Ghislaine. Well, you called her G, but you also had Brett Ratner as your director. Brett Ratner, who has been accused over and over again of engaging in serious, horrific conduct. And also Brett Ratner, who appeared on the Epstein emails as well. You had that in common, Melania. You and the director of the Melania movie, Brett Ratner's name was listed on a email about people Epstein was inviting to a party on St. Bart's or on some island. They were all going to party together. Here's Melania talking about Brett Ratner. Here, play this clip.
The director, that's Brett Ratner?
Brett Ratner.
Yeah, how did that go? He hasn't been involved in movies in a couple of years. How was that relationship?
Very good. He was very talented. I know that, and box offices could tell you, right, that he was very talented. And we had other suggestions and looking into it, and he was the one that I said, the most important is that he puts out my idea, what I have, and cinematic film that I want to achieve. So he was the best one, and he was great to work with.
And then we're just going through the various theaters in the United States where in many of these theaters, not a single ticket was sold. Melania, yikes. This is so embarrassing. The karma you deserve. Your whole background is phony. You said you graduated from a college. You didn't graduate from the college. You made that up. You said.
Okay. I don't know if I should be laughing. I'm finding humor in it. It is actually awful on one level for her, but some people are saying nice things. But I'm, again, I don't know. I don't know what to believe half the time anymore. Most of the time anymore, because everybody puts their own spin on it, right? This is oh my. So it is a humiliation for her. I don't think I've seen any kind of movie panned so badly. Is there another film out there that has attracted this level of negative attention? I'm going to look in the chat. It's terrible. What do we got going on? Lindy says, so that's pretty nasty. Her own family doesn't show up. Sure, I believe that at this moment. Not sure I believe that at this moment. I believe it. They're on the guest list. They're going down the guest list. Yeah, I mean, it's like it's gossip, right? This is just so like the Trump administration, though. This is actually the more sophisticated side. I've been thinking for a long time that this presidency is sort of like the flea market presidency. It's all fake. It's all about lies. It's about a guy in the White House who keeps portraying himself and his family as being, on the side of working class people, talking about how he relates more to like the cab drivers and the blue collar workers than the elite. And yet he runs with the elite. He's always run with the elite. But everything that he does is so reality television. It's so WWE wrestling. It is all over the top. It's all about the photo op. It's all about central casting. It's all about putting people into positions of authority, power, and responsibility that are media personalities first. Whether it's Pete Hegseth or himself, as a reality TV show star, and Pete Hegseth being, from Fox News. And Dr. Oz, like, he's a TV celebrity. Just, you go down the line, so many of them. Judge Janine, right? I'm surprised he didn't get my dad's favorite judge, Judge Judy, in there somehow. But this has just been a big show the entire time. And now you have this movie that has come out, and it is generally flopping, I think. And as I say, to add insult to injury, rubbing salt into the wound, a lot of people, prominent Trump loyalists, just didn't bother to show up, likely because they didn't think it was important enough. It is an exercise in propaganda. I haven't seen the film. I can't judge for myself. I'm just telling you what the critics have been saying. But this whole everything with Trump, it's just like, I hate to use the word, but it's like trailer trash with money. That's how they behave. And you have Melania, who almost seems out of place. She seems out of place with Donald Trump because she is sort of elegant and seems like a supermodel or some sort of, she's just out of his league in so many ways. And yet she's been dragged down into the muck with this guy. And she does kind of come from the seedier side of the modeling industry, I think, straight out of the Kit Kat Club. But it just, everything about it, it's just low class all the way. Everything. It's like, it's always McDonald's hamburgers in the White House, which I can relate to, right? It's like, it's okay with me on a level, but at the same time, you kind of want something a little bit higher, a little higher standard from the actual president of the United States, because he's supposed to be the leader of the free world. And what have we seen going on this weekend? The Melania movie. And it is just, it's like some exercise in appeasing this guy in the White House. It seems like that's what it is more than anything, not so much an exercise in or an artistic endeavor with real artistic merit. It just seems very self-indulgent, and they want the rest of the country to kind of go along with this. And from what I've seen so far, the critics are saying that there really isn't much, if any, plot. There are a lot of shots and scenes with Melania walking, but it doesn't seem to go anywhere. Maybe I'll watch it. Maybe I won't. Maybe I will. I don't really want to. My life is only so long, and I don't really want to waste an hour and a half or 2 hours of my precious life watching something that is nothing but pictures of Melania Trump walking around. Let's do a little Twitter scroll here and see where we're at, because it's all over X. New videos released as part of this release of information as well. And I don't know if you guys have seen this stuff, but some of these videos are, I don't know how relevant they are, but some of them seem kind of weird. Here's one that says, this strange video of Jeffrey Epstein taking selfie videos of himself. Of course, if it's a selfie, it's a video of himself with what looks like a busted lip, is one of the latest in the Epstein files released. I have no idea. I don't know if it matters, but there it is. And of course, the pictures of Trump with his daughter that people get creeped out by. You scroll down. How much evidence do we need to lock up Bill Clinton? It says here, and others involved with Epstein. Thousands of Epstein files. Photos show Clinton with alleged victims. women, Chris Tucker, Michael Jackson, Mick Jagger, Kevin Spacey, and more VIPs. And again, no proof of any wrongdoing as far as we can tell at this point with any of this stuff. But a little bit here and a little bit there. And what the hell's going on there? Michael Jackson, Mick Jagger, with Ghislaine Maxwell and Clinton. It was quite a party for a while it lasted. Lifestyles of the rich and famous. Right there. This one says, synopsis. This is Ghislaine Maxwell. WSTA Child Prostitution is the title. To advise Miami Division of CACU concurrence of the travel request of the two Miami agents to travel to Sydney, Australia. This is back in 2011 to interview a United States citizen, redacted. In addition, per email, Criminal Investigative Division Deputy Assistant Director concurs with Miami Division's international travel request, redacted information. CACU advises Miami Division to conduct all appropriate country clearance requirements regarding official travel to foreign countries as set forth in the Office of International Operations regarding international travel requirements for FBI employees. More documents about Maxwell. Agreed soon began traveling with Epstein to various locations outside the state of Florida. Several witnesses have corroborated travel with Epstein. I mean, I don't know how you go through 3 million pages and get anything out unless you just happen to stumble upon a needle in a haystack. You need a lot of people to go through this stuff to find anything relevant. And there's so much redacted, it's hard to tell if anything's actually relevant. Six hours ago, this is, I believe, an older clip, though, of an Epstein survivor saying, I was raped 3 times a day and I wasn't the only girl. It was a conveyor belt of abuse. We'll play it, but this is, I'm sure, an older clip again that they're recycling.
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10. That is how long the sex trafficking ring has been going on.
Tier 1.
Was tier 1's the highest and worst?
No,
I'm the lowest.
I'm the lowest. Your child's life.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
This is his final interview.
No, but I do have a good mirror.
It's a serious question.
I'm sorry.
Do you think you're the devil himself?
I don't know. Why would you say that?
Because you have all the attributes. You're incredibly smart. You remember the devil is somebody knows
smart?
The devil's brilliant. You read Milton's Paradise Lost.
No, the devil scares me.
Satan is at the number 1 or 2 archangel, and the reason he goes to hell and leads the rebellion is because he can't be the top guy. And his thing is, I'd rather reign in hell than serve in heaven.
I saw that in a movie.
What are you, class 3?
And here he is dancing with a redacted girl. Okay, that's got nothing to do with it. It's just, again, you know, there he is with Melania. And this guy posting, this is Olena Rosa, saying, nobody wants to see Melania's movie. She has done absolutely nothing since she became First Lady 10 years ago. All we know about her is that she partied with Jeffrey Epstein and married Donald Trump, the most boring First Lady ever. No degrees, no nothing. However, you know, I think that there are some positive things being said about it. Let's go over. I'm sure there are. Let's just try and balance it out a little bit. I try to be fair. Let's see if we can find some positive stuff. In fact, I think over on Truth Social we'll find some on Donald Trump's page. Let me see here. Okay. Here's some shots of the preview. Walking shot, signing something, 20 days in her life. Melania with a great black hat. She looks good putting her foot into a car. Witness history in the making as she dances almost as well as Donald Trump in her black hat again and waves like the Queen. Melania, she can smile. Available exclusively in theaters January 30th. Where seats are still available. Many, 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 many seats still available. Here she is on Fox News promoting her film.
The people what it takes to go from private citizen to being a First Lady again. They will see me, all of the tasks that I need to do, from preparing to inauguration, running my business, family, and philanthropy, establishing East Wing. So it's a lot of going on. I want to show.
It's a lot of going on. I do many things. I do much goings on. I have people take my picture. Here it is here. Today is an extra special day. This from George Papadopoulos. It's my beautiful wife's birthday, and we had the honor and pleasure to be invited to the world premiere of Melania Trump, new movie. Melania at the Trump Kennedy Center. Oh, yeah, it's the Trump Kennedy Center now, right? No, it's the Kennedy Center, and it's the Gulf of Mexico. The film was very inspiring and a must-watch. Book your tickets for the global release tomorrow. That was obviously yesterday. She is the first naturalized United States citizen and the first non-native English speaker to become First Lady. Melania cast herself as immigrant underdog in biopic. Is she an underdog? Seems like she's kind of coming from a place of, shall I use the word, privilege? Maybe just a little bit privileged. Let's do the Truth Social scroll, shall we? Or maybe listen to this. I don't know. Oh, here they come. This was the big premiere. This is where Trump and Melania came in.
Here.
And Mr. President, on the right.
Life in a fishbowl.
Could you please Sasha get the Melania? Mr. President, here while they wait.
Mr. President, right here.
And just once we're here, Mr. President, thank you, sir.
And
Up top over here, Melania, take your left.
Don't go too far, we need that too shot.
And one more.
And Melania, Melania, right here. This way.
May we bring you two together again?
And together.
right here, please. Mr. President, Madam First Lady, both of you right here, please. And just once more, and right here.
One more up top. Thank you guys so much.
And do a solo, please.
To your left.
Mrs. Trump, a solo.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mrs. Trump, right up there.
And just come toward me.
And Mr. Trump.
Ms. Trump.
He's not listening to you, dude.
Ms. Trump, just right behind Andrea, and just once more here. Thank you, ma'am.
And right here.
And just once more here, ma'am. Thank you.
One more up top here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Hawaii.
Hi.
Yeah, hello. Thank you.
Hi.
Mr. President.
We're at Amazon. How are you?
Madam First Lady. What's your favorite part of the film first?
Sir, we have a few questions for you.
It's very hard to choose. There are many scenes, and people will connect. You will see humor.
I like the scene where I'm walking.
You will see fashion. So
There's one where I walk very quickly. It's a good one.
Not easy
You would like
to
it.
produce. It's not easy task.
Melania, for you, you mind coming for a couple? We're with Amazon.
I was wearing high heels.
We're over here. And then I think we're just going to have you push to the light a little bit. And then come a little more forward, please. And then step to your left. Yes. Wonderful.
Thank you.
All right. Why don't you tell me what inspired you to make this documentary?
Well, my life.
They gave me $14 million.
Senator Schumer, we've gotten along very
That's
well.
about
We're
right.
working on trying to get it to stay open, and we'll see what happens. It's in the process.
Mr. President, Amazon paid $75 million to make and market this film. It's an exorbitant fee. Many Americans think that this is maybe Jeff Bezos trying to get in good with you, and they would call it an act of corporate corruption. The New York Times.
The New York Times, a fake news New York Times. No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know really. I'm not involved in that. That was done with my wife. I think it's going to be, I think it's a very important movie. I think it's really going to be very important. It shows life in the White House. It's a big deal, actually.
Mr. President, what was Tulsi Gabbard doing at an election center in Georgia today?
She's working very hard on trying to keep the election safe, and she's done a very good job. And they, as you know, they got into the votes. You got to sign judge's order.
Whatever. Okay. It just, and then we walked very much, and it was very, very. I made a lot of money. I made much money from it. They paid $75 million, and it made $2 million back. I'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals. Defenders of individual rights and freedoms. Credible. Trusted. Grounded in reality. Maverick News. Maverick News. Defending free speech. Free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow. Maybe too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
It all feels so hollow. That's how I feel now. Just looking at all of that, talking about it, I feel hollow. Empty. Yeah. I was going to say plastic, but that's not it. Hollow. Just hollow inside. that didn't fulfill me in any way. I don't feel good about what I just talked about. I don't feel like anything was really accomplished other than just showing it for, I guess, what it is. It's just all so empty, devoid of, I keep using this word, but void of value. I didn't get anything out of any of that. Nothing positive about it. And Trump saying, I think it's going to be a very important film. No, it's not. I don't think so. Now, I haven't seen it. But just even from the preview and from the reviews and everything swirling around it, I'm just left feeling hollow. That's my preview of a review. I really don't want to spend any money to go see it. And like I said, this whole presidency, it's just so trailer park. It's like the White House version of Trailer Park Boys to me. It's just so much incompetence and but it's worse than that. It's self-serving and corrupt, destructive. He's just affected so many people's lives in such dramatic negative ways. And yet the guy has so much power and he could be doing so much good. And he goes around boastful, talking about all these wars he has stopped, when it's very clear that he has not achieved what he really claims he has achieved, certainly not in the Middle East, certainly not in Gaza, which has been leveled, and he now works toward rebuilding for profit to create the Riviera of the Middle East. And now here on the home front, after effectively kidnapping the president of Venezuela and turning the world upside down to begin the process of taking over Greenland and maybe even Canada on the home front. He shows up for this supposed to be glitzy film premiere for his wife's new biopic, Melania. And it has flopped. It's absolutely flopped. It's just so immersed in crap and corruption and grift and self-interest from the people producing it to the people financing it to Jeff Bezos for, coughing up all this money for it, to the money that Melania is being paid for it, herself, right into the White House and to Donald Trump and the president, who clearly hopes he will benefit from this because it would cast his wife in a positive light and spin up a positive narrative for his administration, for his presidency, for his first lady. But because it's just so damn superficial, it's so forced, it's so preconceived, it's so controlled, the narrative so controlled, so fabricated, so freaking fake. It doesn't, that's the thing. I can just tell without even seeing it, just from everything going on around it. This biopic does not give you a behind the scenes look, I don't think, at everything, doesn't reveal the truth inside the White House and the life of the first lady. No, it's a filtered, sanitized, piece of, and it is propaganda, let's face it. That's why I don't want to see it. I probably will see it. I'm going to need to see it. And then if I'm wrong about my review, I'll admit it. But I'm not seeing anything to indicate that what this film contains is real, valuable information to give you insight of some kind for a deeper understanding of, what this administration is about, what this first lady is going through, what kind of person she is. It doesn't cast new light or provide new depth of understanding into her character. It's all about optics. It's about spin. It's just freaking fake. I guess that's why I feel hollow.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
What else is going on out there today? There's supposed to be this big anti-carny protest nationwide today, blah, blah, blah. I was aware of somebody mentioned it to me again. I'd forgotten about it coming up. Never paid much attention to it. I could see it wasn't getting much traction. I think there were a few isolated protests in a couple of parts, a couple areas. I think out in BC there was one, but I don't think it got any real traction. There was something in Ottawa, but there's something in Ottawa every day, so I don't think it was anything new. So I don't know. So I haven't provided any coverage on it because I don't think there was really any story there. And this whole, this is the thing about these protests. They're not news. They're advertising. They're a political exercise, and a lot of these streamers today, they've made careers out of covering protests, constantly covering protests. And I just thought about this on the fly here. As a television reporter and radio reporter and print reporter, I learned a long time ago that just because somebody picks up a piece of Bristol board, or a bunch of people do, you don't necessarily run out into the streets and just cover that, because you're being manipulated on some level when people conduct those kinds of affairs. Just because somebody does it doesn't mean they deserve to be covered. But that is going on constantly now because of social media. It's like low-hanging fruit in a way that a streamer can tap into or pick in order to get clicks and generate content easily. But I'm not sure that it is good journalism. And then, of course, I'm seeing so often some of these streamers now inserting themselves into the protests in order to be provocative, to get a response, to make themselves part of the stories, which is also something I was taught a long time ago. As a real journalist or a news reporter anyway, you're not supposed to do. The game has changed out there, though. And so I guess that's why I wasn't so eager to provide pre-protest coverage of this thing this weekend. It was like, well, if they're going to do it, let them promote it and get it going on its own merits. It's not up to me to promote these protests, because then then I become part of the vehicle, right? Part of the political process. I'm a facilitator of it, a promoter of it at that point in many ways. Sometimes you have to if things do get traction, if they become something prominent that people are talking about, you do provide coverage if they reach some sort of critical mass. But I just see these protests have become so manipulative. They're all staged, right? They're staged events. They absolutely are. Choreographed, pre-planned, executed, and covered. And the people covering them are often activists themselves, because that's what we have out there right now is a lot of, if you want to call it journalism, you'd have to call it activism journalism. And so somebody organizes a protest, then they call all their supporters, the live streamers on their side to come out and cover it and to promote it in advance. Who's on our team? That guy. We'll talk to him. We'll get him to come out. He's on our side. And then that guy shows up and provides coverage, and it becomes a self-perpetuating cycle. And, oh, that one went really well. We'll do another one. I think we all need to take a step back and reflect again on the change that we've been living through, this evolution of social media and coverage of events and news. And then it was the same thing, this conservative convention out in Calgary. Someone was talking to me just before I came online, and they were talking about the kind of coverage that was happening out there. And I did not watch much of the conservative convention beyond the full speech by Pierre Poilievre, which we carried in its entirety yesterday. A lot of interest in that, obviously, and we had a lot of views on 2 of the channels as a result of carrying that live last night. So I can see there is a lot of interest in that, and that's valid. But I did take note earlier today, because of this conversation I had about the way that event was covered, because you had a lot of these streamers, live streamers, who sort of became part of the event out there again because they're on Team Conservative. They're not just unbiased reporters. They are, they would never show up at a liberal. I don't think most of them would not show up. They probably wouldn't be allowed in, honestly. Most of them. This is the problem in our politics right now. It's the media has become so polarized. You have some of the most prominent voices on all sides, so entrenched and so involved in the stories and the parties and the politics and the ideologies, that they're sort of cemented in place on one side of the story or the other. That's even the case, when I think about Rebel News, they say, we tell you the other side of the story, but do they tell you the whole story? And are they telling you the truth? And what about the mainstream media? Are they doing that? See, when I watch CBC, CTV, Global in Canada, the major networks in the States, I'd say that we still do get a cross section. Even on Fox, you'll get Democrats on there sometimes, but not so much with a lot of the extremely biased live streamers in Canada and the US. On pick a side, doesn't matter which political team you want to look at. And that is amplifying or maybe even deepening the divide that we're seeing politically in our society today. It makes it even more difficult for people to talk to each other. Because I think people are really caught in echo chambers, only getting a story, not the story. That's even the case, I think, tonight with what we've been exploring here with Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, Donald Trump, all the people involved in the Epstein files story, Bill Clinton. And then you get the documents that come out, and then the spin happens. You can't tell what's real anymore. Even as the documents are dumped and they're so redacted, I can't tell what's relevant, what isn't. Does any of this even freaking matter? Or are we just being flooded with so much documentation that there's no way to find the needle in the haystack? Or maybe it's not just a needle. Maybe it's like everywhere. Maybe it's right in front of us, smacking us right in the face, the truth, but we can't see it because we're just being flooded with so much misdirection. Information overload, 3 million pages. What the hell are you supposed to do with that? People are, combing through it, I guess, and using maybe even AI to digest it, analyze it, and figure it all out. Somebody said to me that, they hope people go to jail or whatever. And I said, I doubt it. Because this American style of justice, this style of politics coming out of the United States these days, the style of journalism and news is so twisted, so flooded, so over the top, so biased, so intense. And there's just so much misinformation and just outright fabrication out there that it is virtually impossible anymore to get to the bottom of anything and get to real justice. It depends on who's in charge now, what the truth is going to be. They literally can shape our reality. They can shape what a lot of people think on either side. On any side, there's more than one. There's more than two. There are many, many sides. But they get you just sucked right down in there, and they get you so attached to whatever it is that you believe, whether it could be your religion, but it's religion and politics, and especially if they mix the two together. That's powerful stuff. And they'll pull you right down into those rabbit holes, and good luck getting out. It undermines everything about a democratic society. Freedom of speech is the greatest vulnerability we have in a free society, because it allows people to, it's just wide open to abuse. People can say whatever they want to it, well, with some restrictions. And the more restrictive things become, the more people kick and scream. But what happens if everything that one side is telling you, or a lot of what they're saying, is a lie? How do you stop that and still preserve free speech? We're in a lot of danger. We're in trouble. These 3 million pages didn't help a bit. Everything we've done here tonight has been an exercise in futility, frustration. I didn't get anything out of the Epstein files. I didn't get anything out of talking about Melania, the documentary. I knew I wasn't going to get anything from covering another protest today. Rinse and repeat. I saw some video, we scrolled past it, which is why I sort of remembered it, of some people driving around in a parade. Wow. That'll show them. Protest, go ahead. I mean, it's all cool. I'm just saying that there's so much of it that it just becomes normal. I'm not sure even what the message was supposed to be about. I mean, during the pandemic and the lockdowns, it was pretty clear people were upset because it was like, stop locking us down. Don't, end the mandates. I don't want the thing in the arm. It should be about freedom of choice. It's evolved to be well beyond that for some people, but the rinsing and repeating and trying to resurrect all of that stuff, every time I'm like, well, what's the issue? What are you protesting now? What's the objective? And I don't know that today even really had a clear objective, except this one thing. It was supposed to be an anti-Carney and liberal government protest, which means basically they're all out there just saying F Carney. Why? Because Justin Trudeau is gone, and they lost him. It was all F Trudeau, F Trudeau. Now it's just F Carney. So it was the F Carney protest today, is really what it was. Got to get rid of that guy. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's not going to get tens or hundreds of thousands of Canadians out to protest. Not that in itself. That's not going to get you the traction. But the perpetual protesters, the people who just are perpetually upset about things, you get them out, I guess, because it's a social thing. They find family there, community, a network of protesters who I think at times don't even really know what the hell it is they're protesting for. It's just, what are we protesting against today, this weekend? Mandates one day, ostriches the next. F Carney today. I keep saying, what do you have on the other side? What is it you want? Leaves me feeling hollow, empty. Doesn't feel real, just feels premeditated. Let's just keep doing this. Let's just keep going. What's the objective? Tearing the country apart? Is that it? I think for a lot of you. I don't feel good about what I said about Melania Trump. I actually feel sorry for her tonight. I find humor in a lot of it, and I shouldn't feel that sorry for her. She'll be fine. Really, trust me. She's going to be okay. She has a lot of money, and whether the film flops or not, she's not going to be sitting in a retirement home with somebody stealing change out of her drawer, a nurse or an orderly or some member of the staff sneaking and stealing change, running down the hall and using her last nickel to buy a candy bar at her expense because she can't get out of bed. She'll be well taken care of, guaranteed. And yet they always portray themselves as victims. It's such bunk. They're not victims. At all, man. He's deceived us. I know that. He's not our savior. Mark Carney's not our savior either. Oh, yeah, I know. I was accused last night in a text message from someone who was just on the show saying I'm a closet liberal. Why? I guess because I've been saying exactly what they were saying at the convention. A lot of the conservatives themselves. It's just that I was saying it long before they did. I saw them talking about how the liberals have stolen their campaign ideas, their platform. And Mark Carney is doing the very things that Pierre Poilievre said he was going to do. Cut taxes. That's why gas is lower than it was under Trudeau. He just came out with a GST rebate. That's going to put at least $1,000 into the pockets of many middle class and lower income Canadians. That's a very conservative thing. Liberals, on the other hand, are saying, this guy, Carney, he's governing, he's like a prime minister. This could be a Harper conservative government as much as it is a liberal government. And I've been saying, well, okay, I'll take it, whatever. Give me the tax breaks. Oh, you're a closet liberal. Because why? You know why? Because I'm thinking while many people are not. You just want to go out, drive around in your parade, fly your, well, now F. Carney flags, and in a knee-jerk fashion, just say F. Carney. And whatever he does is wrong. Because you just can't take yes and a tax break for an answer. It's like not good enough. We got to get rid of that guy. But don't worry. I'm not saying you have to trust him. I don't trust any of them. They're politicians, and they are often self-serving, largely self-serving, quite often. Don't trust him. You don't have to. You shouldn't. Not him. You shouldn't trust Polyev or Maxime Bernier or Gavin Newsom or Donald Trump or any of them. You know what you should do? In my opinion? I don't know, Rick. Why don't you tell me? What do you think? Do you really want me to know? I don't really want to know. You should shut the F up, Rick. You shouldn't have an opinion. I'm going to give you my opinion. You should judge each individual as an individual. Judge them not by what they say, but by what they do. And when they do something good, you say, hey, you did something good. Or that guy did something good. I like that. Because you're thinking and analyzing and assessing and judging. Is this good for me? Is it good for my family? Is it good for my country? Did this politician do a good thing today? And if they do something bad, you say, oh, that's bad. I'm going to criticize that. And you call it out. Bottom line is, if they do a crappy job, you hold them accountable. If they do a good job, you vote for them again. And accountability is the key. They have a responsibility to serve the country, to serve us. That's their job. And I'm not saying trust Mark Carney or anybody. He's not going to be our savior. Trust me, he will screw up. He will face the fire. And even if he doesn't, the propaganda that is always out there for politicians will catch up with him. They're chipping away at him every day, trying to tear him down. F. Carney, F. Carney. It takes a toll after a while on every politician. They often come in very popular, which is what's going on with Carney right now. And they often leave very, very unpopular. And that's what happens more often than not. So fear not, anti-liberals. Carney will fall from grace. His honeymoon will soon be over. And he is in a honeymoon phase after having been just elected Prime Minister of Canada. It's an extended honeymoon because he has done very conservative things. And you go ahead, you people who have decided that you're just going to hate me because you're also knee-jerk reactionists. You go ahead, you keep on saying, I'm a closet liberal. I don't really care. Whatever the hell that means. It's not an argument. I'm just calling it like it is, man. Balls and strikes. As our country hangs in the balance, facing a true existential threat from south of the border. A guy who is just so flipping rich, as they all are these days, that it's kind of gross. He doesn't wrap himself in the American flag. He surrounds himself with gold. Garish, gaudy, grotesque gold, so much it looks fake, honestly. It's just so disgusting. Well, they cut programs for school food programs, and it's pretty gross. And I'm not a socialist. I believe in the free market, but what we have here, folks, is not free market anything. It's not freedom anything. So many people out there say they're freedom fighters, and they're not fighting for freedom at all. They're fighting for the opposite because they don't even know what they're fighting for. All they do is show up every weekend as weekend warriors, go out, drive around, fly flags from the backs of trucks, and they just disappoint me because they're just tearing everything down. They're not fighting for anything. They're just fighting against things. They're just anti-government, I think, in many, many cases. And that is also very true. So why the hell would I cover that this weekend? And here I am talking about it anyway, but it's one of those things that just barely happened at all. What good was it? It's time to build. Stop destroying everything. Stop your bitching. Roll up your sleeves and get to work doing something constructive. Me too. Trying to do that sitting here. I've been trying to do something positive with this whole broadcast. So why do I feel so empty tonight? Because it's also self-serving, all these people, especially the rich people, the people in control. And then I just see so much confusion out there, and it's because of the information warfare. The other night, our friend Brian called in, and he began the Q&A, and he said, I'm wondering, why do these people, I don't understand why they want to leave. And I said, I understand. I said, it's because of the propaganda, because they're being lied to. And then the other caller, Phil, called in. No, you should all know why. It's because the West's been screwed. Okay, you can have your opinion. And then he proceeds to say he's a separatist. Yeah, I know. Another disappointment. Makes me sad. Because you could be doing positive things, but he's not just a separatist. He's not that kind of separatist. See, he's not the pro-American, pro-51st state type separatist. He's the good kind of separatist. Because there's the good separatists and the bad separatists, and he's not one of them. Not that kind of separatist, aren't you? Do you really think Alberta can stand on its own 2 feet? Can the country stand divided? Aren't you? Are you really not that kind of separatist? I don't know anymore, man. I don't know what to believe. I don't know who to believe. And everybody that called in the other night, and some level, I call them all friends because they're actually kind of part of our community, all of them. Everybody here, even people who come in once in a while, and even people who have left, don't hang out here anymore. Friends. I've had so many friends just leave in a huff because of politics, misunderstandings, anger, emotions, politics, and religion. The politics. That also leaves me feeling very hollow. Because this channel, this community was built at one particular point in time when there was that galvanizing of people, Canadians coming together because of the pandemic and the government response to that, and then the citizens, the people responding in the way that they did, especially during that big protest, which was very legitimate and illegitimate at the same time. That's what brought us all together. That and being a bunch of misfits around here. But since then, one issue after another, some domestic, some foreign, some international, whether it be pipelines or Gaza, or the Epstein tapes, and whether you support Trump or don't support Trump, Orange Man bad, Orange Man's good. You have TDS. And then it all kind of, percolates. And the support, the friendships, they ebb, they wane, because with each issue, friendships are tested. The ostrich thing, my God, the emotions surrounding that. Because the propaganda got people so jacked up. And yep, few people won't talk to me anymore. That's fine. Maybe you'll come back. Hope you do. And some people, as emotional as it became, they're still here. Because we don't agree on everything, but that's okay. The other thing I've been wanting to talk about, and I was going to do a call-in show on this, and I think we will, is the way this channel has evolved. It's been an exercise in free speech. An experiment. No censorship of any kind, no banning of any kind, no moderation even in the chats for a long time. Didn't have it. But then, like I said, the issues changed. And so the friendships became a little bit strained here and a little bit challenged over there. These people didn't agree. These people did. They didn't like what I had to say. Other people are okay. And then the next issue comes along and they come back, and it just depends on what the issue of the week is or in the news cycle, right? And then the attacks would start, and then you get the fake people in there pretending to be something they weren't. Oh, I'm conservatives, they would say, but they're really on the left. Or I'm on the right. No, they're not. They're on the left. Or I'm on the left and I'm over here talking about that. They're really just pretending to be things. And then you don't know who's doing what and who's real and who isn't. Over time, you sort of kind of get an inkling. And for all I know, half the people out there are a bunch of government agents or something undercover. He's a cop. And that's okay with me because I ain't doing nothing wrong. So all the cops can come here and hang out. It doesn't bother me a bit. I don't know why people freak out so much if they think there are cops around. Unless you're doing something you ought not be doing. But point is, there's so much fakery going on out there. And in the chats, it becomes pretty toxic, right? So we've split people up. We've pushed people over to, other channels. And then the rules have become more and more strict because in order to preserve free speech and try to keep things civil, we've had to impose more rules, which is a lesson that really we've learned as a society a long time ago, but we have to keep relearning it, I guess. Question is have we gone too far? Like Phil called in. I sent a text to Phil Primo, and I asked him to join us in the call-in the other night as a guest, because I thought he probably would have some valuable stuff to share with us. Then he gets in the chat before that, and I guess he wasn't following the rules. I wasn't there. I've tried to stay out of the chat. This is kind of the thing. And then he calls in and says he hates the mod. I hate your moderator, when he calls in and during the call-in portion of the program. And I laughed because I had a feeling, I got a pretty good idea of what had been going on in there because of him saying that. So I just chuckled. I hate your mod, Linda. But okay. What does that tell me? It tells me that you're breaking the rules. Now, I understand that, we could have a discussion on what the rules are. I've tried, and this is something I need input from everybody on, okay? Everybody out there. Have we gone too far? Are the rules fair? This has been an evolution. This is a valid discussion. It's also an extension of the experiment. To open it up now for reflection, because we're at a new a new point in time with all of this. And Phil calling in highlighted that. I hate your moderator. But I think he was using foul language, which is now a rule. You can't use foul language, I guess. And I've violated here too. So you're going to get timed out, dude, if you're over there breaking the rules. And I've had people calling, Rick, please unban me. That's not fair. And I'm like, I'm not unbanning you because I'm not involved. I'm arm's length. I'm trying not to be involved at all in it over there anymore because I have such a prominent position here and I can't spend my time over there watching the chat and monitoring all the conversations going on back and forth. So I'm leaving it up to the mods. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe that's something we have to talk about, but are we in balance with what we're doing or not? Does it need to be revised? Does it need to be massaged? I'll tell you, I have to, even with the call-in program, it's been so abused, frankly, by people who have tried to hijack the program over time. And not just the call-in portion, but even some guests that I've invited to come on the show, kind of disrespectful in a lot of ways because they deviate from the topic at hand and then just want to promote whatever political message they want to promote. So they'll just blurt stuff out that we previously sometimes have even agreed that we're not going to talk about, but then they do it anyway because we have an audience and they want access to you. So it's been abused. I don't do the call-ins as often as I used to, as I'm sure you've noticed. And that's because we have people deliberately calling in to sabotage the program. That's a problem too. And then, Phil got upset with me just as, to continue down that path for a moment longer. And I understand he got upset because he says, well, why were you talking over me when we were having the discussion on, the Federal Reserve, central banking, the court case that surrounded all of that, which I'm sure that, a lot of you listening to us talk about that, and then me subsequently last night expanding on that with my own commentary, probably a lot of that just didn't really resonate with you at all, probably just flew over your heads. I said to Phil, I didn't really want to talk about that stuff. I wanted to keep the original conversation from 2 nights ago very focused on the question. Are these Western separatists who have been meeting with the U.S. State Department officials, are they engaging in acts of treason, which is the allegation or the accusation, the charge essentially coming from the Premier of British Columbia, David Eby. And even with him, like there was nuance and dancing around, and I don't know if he ever even really answered that question. We did discuss it, but in a roundabout sort of way. I'd have to go back and review it. But what he did do is he tried to talk about the banking thing. He's obsessed with it. It was a simple question. Were they engaged in an act of treason? I wanted to focus on that. And as a guest, I was just trying to keep my guests focused on the topic at hand. So now I've got a guy who pissed off the moderator. The moderator pissed him off. He's now coming into the live portion of the program and a call-in, and he wants to talk about what he wants to talk about. Well, it's all related. Yeah, but I'm trying to keep the conversation focused and keep it focused so people can kind of understand and get the most out of the conversation at the time. And I said, we can talk about the other stuff another time in more depth, but I didn't really want to talk about it. And yet still, but at the end of the call, we've come full circle and he's determined to talk about it again. So yeah, I talked over you. Because one, you were wrong about a bunch of stuff because you don't understand it. You think you do, but a lot of it's conspiratorial. Sorry, that's the truth. And I was kind last night with my commentary, honestly. And I don't like it when people are fed information that is just not correct. Not to say that everything you said was incorrect, but some of it just plain was. And it misleads. And we've already got too many people here who are confused and misdirection, misinformation, mistakes, even in the conveyance of information, has just done far too much damage to our country and to our community right here. And so I'm very protective of our audience. And so I hope you understand that I'm not upset with you, Phil, or any of you who do these things, but it's my job as the host to keep things on track. It's not my obligation to just turn this platform over to people so they can use it for their own political purposes and to just spew whatever it is they want to spew, or say whatever they want to say, or promote whatever they want to promote. We're here to have civil conversations. Same thing with our friend Rudy the other night, you know? I didn't lie. I told the truth, and the truth hurt. And I was doing him a favor. And I used a lot of foul language, and I should have my mouth washed out with soap, but that was performative. And there was editorializing and a deeper message in the profanity. That would be what some might call esoteric language. Where there are deeper meanings in what was said for those who understand. And for those who don't, you're only getting surface level information. I wasn't actually upset with him at all. I was saddened, but I wasn't angry. I wasn't upset. There was a message in the tone as much as in the words. That's the thing about this program. I try to bring you different layers and levels and depths of information and understanding. It's not just surface level stuff. I try to bring you actual depth. That's also why I try to keep things focused sometimes. And that's also why I have to put, I have to rely on mods to do what they're doing in the chat. And yeah, sorry, Phil, but Linda was probably right, is what I'm saying. And right in this sense, in that particular chat on that channel, the goal is now to keep things civil so that people can have actual conversations, hopefully about the subject matter at hand that night, so that hopefully the people are talking about what we're talking about on the program instead of talking about where to buy kitty litter or get the best price on a brick of butter, unless we're talking about grocery prices. The topic 2 nights ago was, are these separatists engaging in acts of treason by talking to people from the U.S. State Department and acknowledging that they may be taking in a $500 million loan from the U.S. to fuel a separatist movement, a slush fund, essentially, that they've acknowledged, bragged about. It wasn't to get into a deeper discussion on central banking as much as you think that it's all related. Yeah, everything is related to everything, blah, blah, blah. Nevertheless, you have to break things down. Not upset with you. I'm just explaining why I talked over you. Because you wouldn't stop talking. Not only would you not stop talking, you wouldn't stop talking about the thing that we weren't supposed to be talking about, that I had already told you was not the topic of the night, but you insisted on talking about it. And so finally I relented and I said, fine, go ahead then. And I still gave you some free speech. You're not, but you're by far, you contribute and you do bring things of value here. And I appreciated you still calling in the other night because it was still a good conversation. But, there's so many people who have done that. So many people come here and they just want access to you guys. Because we have an audience, a bigger audience than people realize. A bigger audience even than I realize sometimes, because I don't it's amazing to me how far this program does reach. The phone calls I get from people, the impact that it has, not just in Canada, but internationally. It's amazing, actually. In spite of the people who said, no, he doesn't have any viewers. Yeah, probably too many. But you know, I had the one woman on who wanted to talk about those stupid ostriches, right? Not Angie, the other lady. Months went by. I'm going to come on. 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 Okay. And then you wouldn't come on. Finally, what, 7 months or something of back and forth. And then she finally came on the program. We did a 5-hour program, 5 hours. At times during the beginning of the program, I did intervene and slowed her down. And I said, we have to stay focused on what we have to talk about again, trying to keep the conversation on track. That's my job. As the program went on and we were getting into like hour 4, hour 5, I got looser because we'd been on so long and I just more freewheeling. So it was like, okay, you want to say what you want to say, go ahead and say whatever you want to say. At one point, I even got up. We'd been on so long, I had to take Cosmo for a walk. And I just left the program with the two ladies on. No control. I shouldn't do that, by the way. I've done that on very rare occasions. I thought, okay, I'm going to trust these guys. And I don't know what they're going to talk about when I'm gone. I have to take Cosmo. So I did that. So I'm told that suddenly I still haven't gone back to review, but I'm told that this lady went on about something about 9/11, which had nothing to do with the topic that night. During that period of time when I wasn't here, I was told, why did she talk about 9/11? I'd have no idea. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay. So then I come back and back we go talking about the stuff that we were supposed to sort of be talking about. And I let her just talk. And then I even said to her at the end of the program, is there anything else that you would like to bring up before we sign off today? Anything else you want to say? And I left it open-ended. No, when we wrapped it up, 2 days later, I think, I get a text message complaining that I didn't let her talk. I'm like, what? How can you were on the program for 5 freaking hours. I left you on the program. Well, I took the dog for a walk. How's that for professional broadcasting? Right. And I came back, and then I still said at the end of the 5-hour interview, and there were other people on. It wasn't all her for 5 hours, but we were on for 5 hours. Anything else you'd like to add? Nope. You didn't let me talk. Time is precious. You have to learn how to focus a little bit, folks. And what we do here is precious. When I worked in television, time, very valuable. Standard length of a television news story, 1:30, 90 seconds. You have to learn how to focus. I can tell stories, very complex stories, in 90 seconds if I really want to. Tonight we've been on here coming up on 2 hours now. I've been flapping my gums for 2 freaking hours. I hope I've given you something of value tonight. But when I need to, I can focus things, get it right down into like 90 seconds. I gave that person 5 hours. I invite people on the program. I give them the opportunity. I give everybody here a voice. What they choose to do with it determines, I guess, how they view the value of the time, how they value you, how they value me, and I think it also says something about whether they have any respect for the channel, for me, and most importantly, for you. Respect. I think that's what Linda is trying to do over in the chat, and I'm grateful for that. Keep things respectful, essentially, is what it comes down to. Can you just speak nicely to each other without ripping each other's throats out or swearing every second word? We tried the swearing thing with FU Fridays, which was a suggestion here. And after we did that a couple of weeks, I was like, this is not me. I can't do this. This is a race to the bottom. No, thank you. So I stopped that. Because that's not what this is supposed to be about. That's not what's supposed to be going on in the chat. So if you're getting timed out in there, it's because of that. Maybe we've gone too far. We can have that discussion, and I think we will. We're going to maybe have a call-in program. I've been talking to a couple of people about that, so we can reflect and refine and get better at it and make sure that everybody is treated fairly so that we can actually protect free speech by providing very clear guidelines that will apply equally to everyone. I don't know still what to do with the people who just attack. It's not unique to this program, to me. It's common everywhere now. And it's terrible. It's one of the reasons our country is in trouble here in Canada. It's one of the reasons the United States is in decline. It's one of the reasons we can't tell what's real anymore and we can't talk to each other. Because the people screaming the loudest for free speech are the ones, it seems, who are the most active and aggressive about shutting people down, canceling people. They don't believe in free speech at all. What's the old saying? If you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all? Well, I don't really subscribe to that. But it's how you do it, like everything else. It's how you do it, how you say it, and whether you make room for other people. Gonna keep on trying. We have to. You know? Yeah. How long have we been on here? 2 hours tonight. Do you feel any better after our conversation tonight, or do you feel like me? After all of this crap, I still feel hollow. Didn't talk about anything good. See, if that movie with Melania were real, I think I might feel okay about it. It would be like, hey, you got to see this movie. It really does reveal what's going on in the White House. Look at the challenges that Melania faces. What a hard job she has while she tries to do all this good for the world. But I don't feel like that's what this was at all. I don't feel like that's what Donald Trump brings. I feel like our country's in real danger, real peril. I think the people who keep trying to tear it down are not good faith actors. There are a lot of actors out there. One of the things we should be talking about too is, I think, fake names. People are using that as a shield here every night in those chats. It's cowardly to attack from behind a mask, a fake name or a number. I see it even with some of these social media influencers who have become characters. What's their real name? Do you know them by their real name? I'm Rick Walker. This is who I am. It's who I've always been. I'm real. I'm not AI. Many of those attacking are fake. And if they're not fake, many of them are cowards because they're hiding behind fake names. And the people who are worried about a digital future where you become nothing but a number are already presenting themselves as just that, just a number in a chat, literally hiding behind a number in a digital environment, a digital universe. It's all fake. See you tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
Biden's about, Charlie's alive. Elvis flips burgers on the Lower East Side. 10 Trump's mask up on your phone. Shilling mean coins by remote drone. Graphene needles in your veins. Chemtrail sugar fries your brain. George Floyd's American hologram pie. Don't trust your lying eyes. It's all fake. It's all fake. The moon is a hoax. Give your head a shake. It's all fake. It's all fake. Your mama's a lizard. Your daddy's a snake. Bigfoot codes, the Mossad plan. Flat Earth truckers fighting the man. Dinosaurs guard an empty fed vault. Truth is dead and it's the media's fault. Conspiracies are real, let it sink in. Time travel, JFK is president again. 9/11's a VR game. The elite cut deals in the devil's name. It's all fake. It's all fake. From the jab to the pills that you take. It's all fake. It's all fake. The Pope's in a bunker with Q as his mate. Your phone's a snitch. Your dog's AI. The king eats penguins in conspiracy pie. JFK Jr., Cobain, and Tupac. They ain't dead. They're all coming back. It's all fake. It's all fake. Every headline, every handshake. It's all fake. It's all fake. FBI, CIA, KGB, ABC. Are you awake? Don't believe your lying eyes. It's all fake. It's all fake.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.